Welcome to today's episode of Spelling Bee Ninja. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of language, specifically focusing on formal and informal language. Have you ever noticed how the way you speak changes depending on who you're talking to or the situation you're in? Whether you're writing an essay for school or chatting with a friend, understanding the difference between formal and informal language is crucial. This knowledge can help you communicate your thoughts clearly and appropriately in various contexts. So, let's explore these two styles of language together. First, let's understand what formal language is. Formal language is characterized by its polite, respectful tone and adherence to grammar rules. You typically use this style in serious or official situations. For instance, if you're writing a letter to a teacher or delivering a speech, formal language is your go-to choice. When using formal language, you'll want to keep a few key characteristics in mind. First is the use of complete sentences. In formal writing, full sentences are essential, and they should be grammatically correct. Next, you should avoid slang and contractions. Instead of saying can't or gonna, you would say cannot or going to. Formal language is also marked by a polite tone, demonstrating respect to your audience. Additionally, formal communication often employs more complex vocabulary, which helps convey ideas with precision. For instance, instead of saying the student wrote the report, you might say, the report was written by the student. Now, let's look at a few examples of formal language. You might say, I am writing to inform you about the upcoming exam, or could you please provide me with the necessary information? Not only does this style make you sound professional, but it also reflects your understanding of context and etiquette. Now, what about informal language? Informal language is more casual and relaxed, typically used when communicating with friends, family, or those you know well. You'll often find this style used in everyday conversations, text messages, or on social media. Informal language has several characteristics as well. For starters, it often includes shorter sentences. Sometimes, these sentences can even be incomplete, and that's perfectly acceptable in informal settings. You'll also notice a lot of slang and contractions in informal speech. Words like gonna and wanna are commonplace. The tone tends to be friendly and personal, making it quite approachable. Informal language often uses simple vocabulary, which makes conversations easy to follow. You might say, hey, what's up, or that movie was awesome. These phrases illustrate the relaxed nature of informal communication. Now that we know what formal and informal languages are, when should you use each style? Using formal language appropriately is essential, particularly to show respect and professionalism. For example, when completing school assignments or essays, teachers expect you to use formal writing. Speaking to teachers or principals also calls for a more formal approach. Remember, if you're applying for a job or preparing for an interview, using formal language can help you seem serious and professional. This is also true for official letters or emails. If you're writing to someone you don't know well, a formal tone is best. Public speaking situations, such as presentations or speeches, also typically require formal language. On the other hand, informal language is ideal for casual situations. When chatting with friends and family, feel free to use informal language. It's perfectly normal to text informally or post casually on social media. When you're in more relaxed settings, using an informal tone lets you convey warmth and familiarity. Personal emails or notes to close friends or family members can also be less formal. Now, let's explore how to switch between these two types of language, which is a useful skill that takes practice. Start by considering your audience. Ask yourself who you're addressing. This can help guide your choice of words. Next, think about the situation. Is it serious or casual? After that, choose your words carefully. For formal language, stick to polite and complete sentences. For informal language, you can opt for simple and friendly vocabulary. It's important to note that you should avoid slang when writing formally. Save those casual terms for informal conversations. A practical exercise is to practice writing. try creating a formal email and an informal text about the same topic. This duality helps you see how language can switch based on context. Let's examine a few phrases to highlight the differences between formal and informal communication. When asking for help, instead of saying, "Hey, can you help me with this?" in a formal setting, you might say, "Could you please help me with this assignment?" Similarly, when saying goodbye, the formal version would be, "Goodbye. Have a nice day," while the informal would be, "See you later." Another instance is when you invite someone. A formal way to invite might read, "I would like to invite you to my birthday party," contrasted with the more casual, "Hey, wanna come to my party?" It's fascinating to see how the same request can be communicated in two completely different tones depending on the context. Furthermore, here's a side-by-side comparison of phrases. Instead of saying, "I'm writing to express my concern," you might informally say, "I'm worried about." Or instead of, "I would appreciate your assistance," you could simply say, "I'd really like your help." Remember, using the appropriate style not only enhances your communication but also reflects your understanding of social norms. Understanding the differences between formal and informal language is particularly important for ESL learners. By mastering these distinctions, you learn to communicate clearly, make positive impressions, avoid misunderstandings, and improve your overall writing and speaking skills. Practicing both styles will contribute to you becoming a more confident English speaker and writer. There are many fun activities you can use to practice formal and informal language. Role-playing can be a great way to simulate different situations, such as talking to a teacher or chatting with a friend. Writing two versions of a paragraph, a formal and informal version, can also help you understand how tone and word choice change with context. Watching videos or listening to conversations where you can identify the use of formal and informal language will increase your awareness. Another engaging idea is to create flashcards with formal phrases on one side and informal phrases on the other. These activities not only make practice enjoyable but also reinforce your understanding of when each style is appropriate. In conclusion, while communicating, always pay attention to the situation and your audience. If you're unsure, leaning towards formal language is generally safer, especially in school or work settings. Don't hesitate to ask teachers or native speakers for assistance. It's all part of the learning process. Regular practice will help you get more comfortable switching between formal and informal language. Remember, both styles are important aspects of mastering English. With time and experience, you'll discover how to navigate these styles effortlessly. Today, we explored the critical differences between formal and informal language. We discussed what makes each style unique, when to use them, and how crucial it is to recognize your audience and the context of your communication. Understanding how to navigate these language styles can significantly enhance your communication skills, whether you're writing an essay or chatting with a friend. Mastery of these styles not only helps you express yourself better but also shows respect and professionalism when necessary. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Spelling Bee Ninja. We hope you found our discussion on formal versus informal language helpful and engaging. Remember, with practice, you can easily switch between these styles, boosting your confidence in English. Join us next time for more language learning tips and tricks. Happy learning!